Hey, welcome back to Boxhead. So, I'm sure you're familiar with quizzes. Nobody likes them. Nobody did like them. I never had a pop quiz in my life, despite it being shown in like every TV show I ever watched as a kid. But I learned that quizzes actually became fun. I'm sure many people did when you learned about the Harry Potter quizzes you could take, like what's your Patronus, Harry Potter house, all that shit. And then you learn that quizzes could be cool when it told you like what character you are from this show. Basically, just answer all these generalized questions and we'll give you something. So I found this website that has like a bunch of different quizzes. I took some of them with like my friend and I had fun analyzing like, our results on some of these because there's like a dark one and like all this other stuff. So I figured I would turn it into video and that's what we're doing. So let's give it a crack. This is the first one. We're going to start with the basics. We're going to start with the regular like personality test here. Basically just figure out what my base personality is. I'm off the jump. But I think it'd be fun to go through the questions and give like my reasons for why I this way. Um, you regularly make new friends. Hard to disagree. I don't meet anyone, and I don't really like most people. Because they don't really give me a reason to like them. You know what I mean? Like I have this base like neutral state when I meet people. Like you're fine until you give me a reason not to like you. Um, but also like if we never talk, then you're just fine. And if we do talk and it's only through like work or whatever, like it all depends. But I don't regularly meet people. I don't go out often. I mean, nobody really can go out often. At least it's not in your best interest to. So seeing other people cry can easily make you feel like you want to cry too. That's a hard agree. I constantly refer to myself as like a sponge, where like if somebody in the same room as me is having like a bad day or they feel like shit or they are crying or upset or whatever, I tend to absorb that. Yeah, I tend to absorb that and then like it becomes like how I feel as well. Now sometimes I can turn it around and like be the optimistic, like funny, like ha, like try to cheer people up. That takes effort though. But a lot of the times by default, like I'll mirror somebody else's emotions just because I don't know. I can't really explain why that happens. You often make up a backup plan for a backup plan. I do not. I do not. Sometimes I don't even have a regular plan. I mostly just flow through life. There's been plenty of times where I've gotten in the car, like I know we have to go somewhere. I get in the car with Tori, and we just start going. And honestly, I sometimes I forget where we're going, or what we're doing that day. I'm just kind of heavily just chill, go with the flow kind of guy. You usually stay calm even under a lot of pressure. Uh, that depends. That really depends. Because sometimes, like, I'll get overwhelmed if it's like ordering at a restaurant that I've never been to, and I'm like trying to be quick because everybody else has already made their choice. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm not really calm in that situation. Other times it's like if there's a lot of pressure about something that I don't really give too much like attention to or care for, then I can just be calm through the whole thing. Like Tori's driving down the road and got distracted by some cows and blew the tire off of our car because like there was a little lip in the road and she went just a little bit too far and it cut it open and poof, tire flat. Throughout that whole thing, I would say I was incredibly calm. So like, I can't really tell. That's like stupid shit that I get overwhelmed with. Yeah, I'll go with agree. At social events, you rarely try to introduce yourself to new people and mostly talk to the ones you already know. Hard agree. There's nothing worse than going to a party and the person you went there with and the only one that you know dips and then you have to talk to random people. That's awful. You prefer to completely finish one project before starting another. I kind of somewhat agree with that. It's like if I'm working on one thing, like I have to finish it before I start doing something else, but then at the same time, I'll get like stuck or bored and want to move, so I'll just kind of do like maybe. You're very sentimental. I will agree with that. Um, you like to use organization tools to schedules and make lists. No, I don't. I should, because my brain not here. It's empty. Even a small mistake can cause you to doubt your overall abilities and knowledge. You feel comfortable just waking up to find. You feel just comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation. I've gotten less. I wouldn't say comfortable, but less like caring about the consequences of doing something like that. So I wouldn't say comfortable. It's just indifferent. But I don't really like talking to random people, so you are not too interested in discussing various interpretations and analysis of created works. That's disagree. I love I love talking about that stuff. You are more inclined to follow your head than your heart. That's a disagree. I tend to go make a lot of choices based off of emotion. That's not to say that I can't make the choices and decisions based off of my head, but um, initially the first thing that pops into my head is like how I feel about a situation emotionally. You usually prefer just doing what you feel like at any given moment instead of planning a particular daily routine. Somewhat yes, because sometimes I'll like sit and like panic about like trying to figure out what I want to do on like a weekend that I finally have off, and then like I get upset that I'm not doing anything and I just kind of cycle. Um, that happens sometimes if you don't have a plan. You're like, well, fuck, I can do this and this, but do I have enough time to do that, or like, do I want to do that? So sometimes it's better to make a plan. You rarely worry about whether you make a good impression on people you meet. I've started to care less about this. This like meant the world to me for a while. Um, but I've started to care a little less about it. And I think that's better for me because I cared way too much about it. Um, rarely worry about, yeah, yeah. You enjoy participating in group activities if I like the group. If it's a group of friends, yes. You like books and movies that make you come up with your own interpretation of the ending. The first thing I think of is Inception, or spoilers for Inception, where at the end the fucking spinny thing, this topper, whatever, is just spinning and he walks away from it before seeing if it ever stops. Because like he finally gets to be with his family and like he's just too distracted by that. Um, that kind of leaves it way open ended for you to figure it out. And like I kind of like that. And like even on an idea level for writing something, like if you leave it open ended like that, whatever a person can come up with in their head is probably much more better than what you could have actually written. Because people create like their perfect ideal ending or situation. Um, it depends if it's way too open ended. I'll do a little bit. If it's way too open ended, I don't like that. Your happiness comes more from helping others accomplish things than your own accomplishment. Heavy agree. I like I enjoy other people enjoying things, if that makes sense. You are interested in so many things that you find it difficult to choose what to try next. Um, yes. You are prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worst. Yeah, I mean, life conditions you to kind of be that way sometimes. You avoid leadership roles in group settings. Yes, I do. I do, definitely. I prefer to just like know what's going down, contribute to the group, but I don't want to be like, this is what we're doing, everybody follow me. Because then if I make the wrong choice, then I fuck everybody else over. And like I said, like if they're feeling like shit, then I'm feeling like shit, even if it has nothing to do with me. But if it has something to do with me, then it feels worse. You are definitely not an artistic type of person. I'll disagree. I enjoy art. I feel like a creative person. I don't make many things because I don't like I get too nervous about sharing the things that I make, but you think the world would be a better place if people relied more on rationality and less on their feelings. Yes and no. If you rely too much on rationality, then like you remove the human aspect of it. That's a hard one. But then sometimes people disregard rationality completely, and then that also fucks up things. I'm gonna have to be in the middle on this one. I hate doing the middle ones, but I'm gonna have to be in the middle. Because whatever people think is rational is like subjective to the person, which sucks, but sometimes it is. You prefer to do your chores before allowing yourself to relax. I've gotten in the habit of doing that now. I don't like prefer to, but it's a more responsible thing to do. You enjoy watching people argue? No, because I feel it. I feel like it's like I'm in it, but I'm not. I think that's like people like that for like reality TV and stuff, but I'm not really about that. You tend to avoid drawing attention to yourself. Yeah, I don't like to be the center of attention. Your mood can change very quickly. Agree. Oh, actually, yeah, kinda small, yes. Um, you lose patience with people who are not as efficient as you. I'm not really efficient, so no. I'm gonna put it like that because, you can get upset with anybody, really. You often end up doing things at the last possible moment. I learned that from school. I definitely do. Still do today. You have always been fascinated by the question of what, if anything, happens after death. Yeah, I like talking about that stuff. I don't mind it. You usually prefer to be around others rather than on your own. Disagree, but not like super strong. Like I like to be around certain people that I've grown an attachment to. Then I prefer being around them instead of being completely alone. But you become bored or lose interest when the discussion gets highly theoretical. No. You find it easy to empathize with a person whose experiences are very different than yours. Yeah, I can usually attempt to put myself in their shoes, kind of like see where they're coming from. You usually postpone finalizing decisions for as long as possible. Yes, I'm very indecisive. You rarely second guess the choices that you have made. Nah, I second guess it like probably the instant that I make it. Because it's like, what if I could have made a better one? A better choice? What if it doesn't work out the way that I wanted it to? After a long, exhausting week, a lively social event is just what you need. No. If I'm exhausted, I'm sitting in my chair, maybe talking on Discord with my best friend and playing some games. You enjoy going to art museums? Yeah, I don't mind it. It's not bad. I've been to a couple. You often have a hard time understanding other people's feelings. No, I don't. I don't understand how people get this way. Where like you just can't understand why somebody's sad or like. I think Alyssa's that way with anxiety. Like she doesn't have anxiety, period. And like I don't think has ever felt anxious before. So she has a hard time understanding why people do or like how somebody could, which is really weird to me. You like to have a to-do list for each day. If I have to get things done, yeah, but yeah. You rarely feel insecure. You avoid making phone calls. Yeah, I don't like phone calls. You often spend a lot of time trying to understand views that are very different from your own. Not a lot of time, but I can, if needed. In your social circle, you are often the one who contacts your friends and initiates activities. So I asked Taylor this one, and I think it's a yes, because I always ask him to like hang out and play games and stuff, and like there's only been like 2 times I feel like that this dude has ever asked me to play anything, because again, he said like he always assumes that I'm busy, and my parents say the same thing. I'm not sure like what vibe I'm giving off, that I'm like this busy, running around, fucking taking on the world type dude. But I mean, more often than not, I'm not. I'm not busy. And even if I am, just message me and I'll let you know. But if your plans are interrupted, your top priority is to get back on track as soon as possible. Yes. You are still bothered by mistakes that you made a long time ago. Less now than before. Also, my memory issue um kind of helps me forget some mistakes that I've made in the past. I don't know. I'm not often. Not really. Nah. You rarely contemplate the reasons for humans' existence or the meaning of life. Nah, I think about it every now and then. It's like a fun subject to talk about. I don't know. Just seeing different points of view on it. Your emotions control you more than you control them. I'm gonna put in the middle in that because that's wishy-washy. Depends on the situation. You take great care not to make people look bad even when it's completely their fault. I notice I do that subconsciously when I'm explaining a situation to somebody, like, or saying how somebody was like did this or like whatever the hell. I try to make it like less bad on them and more just a bad circumstance. Um, unless it's completely egregious, but more often than not, I'm just subconsciously I'm just like dumbing it down a little bit. Your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than organized and consistent efforts. Yes, I gotta very much be in the mood, like a moment of inspiration, a spark, you know? When someone thinks highly of you, you wonder how long it will take for them to feel this. You would love a job that requires you to work alone most of the time, 100%, which is why I want to create something, build something, do something that I could work from home and be my own like boss, you know what I mean? Like that's what I want. I'm done dealing with people. Most of the jobs I've had my entire life have been manual labor jobs, like landscaping, and fuck am I tired of it. I've like physically, mentally just. You believe that pondering abstract psychological questions is a waste of time? Nah, it's fun. You know, you're drinking, you're sitting under the stars, you're just talking about random shit, space, time, aliens, hypotheticals. It's all fun. You feel more drawn to places with busy, bustling atmospheres than quiet, intimate places. No, I'm not. You know at first glance how someone is feeling. Yeah, more often than not, I can tell. You often feel overwhelmed. I would disagree. I don't usually. I can get overwhelmed, but I don't usually often feel that way. You complete things methodically without skipping over any steps. I probably forget steps, to be honest. You are very intrigued by things labeled as controversial. I think most people are by nature. You struggle with deadlines. You feel confident that things will work out for you. I don't. Alright. Oh shit. Really, really like one-sided on every single one of these. There's hardly anything in the middle. Mind. This trait determines how we interact with our environment. I'm very introverted, 86% introverted. Got a little bit of extroverted in me at least, so I can handle some situations. Okay. This trait shows where we direct our mental energy. Intuitive. Okay, that's not bad. This trait determines how we make decisions and cope with emotions, feelings. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. 85%. Jeez. Tactics. This trait reflects our approach to work, planning, and decision making, prospecting, or judging. Okay, this one's a little bit more closer. I think it's majority of this, but closer to the middle. This trait underpins all others, showing how confident we are in our abilities and decisions. I mean, is it really that bad? I mean, technically that's still a passing grade for turbulent, so maybe that's kind of bad. Let's read a little bit about myself. Let's read a little bit about a mediator. Although they seem quiet or unassuming, mediators have vibrant, passionate inner lives. Creative and imaginative, they happily lose themselves in daydreams, inventing all sorts of stories and conversations in their minds. These personalities are known for their sensitivity. Mediators can have profound emotional responses to music, art, nature, and the people around them. Idealistic and empathetic, mediators long for deep, soulful relationships and they feel called to help others. But because their personality type makes up such a small portion of the population, mediators may sometimes feel lonely or invisible, adrift in a world that doesn't seem to appreciate the traits that make them unique. Pretty much nails it. I definitely crave those like soulful relationships and want to help other people just because I like to see other people happy. Um, cutting deep, with lonely and invisible. All right, let's see our strengths and weaknesses. Let's see. Empathetic. Mediators don't just care about other people in an abstract sense. These personalities can actually feel another person's emotions, from joy and elation to sorrow and regret. Because of this sensitivity, mediators tend to be thoughtful and kind-hearted, and they hate the idea of hurting anyone, even unintentionally. That, nail on the head, 100%. Like I said, pretty much a sponge. Like, I feel what other people are feeling around me. And like I said, I can fight against it and try to cheer them up, but like ultimately I can feel the same thing. So I need to make sure everything around me is very tranquil at all times. Mediators, generous. Mediators rarely enjoy succeeding at other people's expense. They feel called to share the good things in their lives, give credit where it's due, and uplift the people around them. These personalities want to contribute to a world where every voice is heard and no one needs go unmet. Yes. Open-minded, creative, passionate, and idealistic. I'm not going to read the details on all of them. Feel free to pause and read it yourself. But I've got to get through a lot of this. This video is already pretty long. Okay, here's my weaknesses. Unrealistic. Nothing in this world is perfect, and that can be difficult. And that can be a difficult truth for mediators to accept. People with this personality type can be hopeless romantics with rose-colored visions of what their lives should be like. This can set mediators up for disappointment when reality inevitably falls short of their dreams. Yeah, I guess I could see that. I mean, luckily I don't have to worry about my romantic life since I'm already married and I had met her in middle school and been with her since. So, like, that's all taken care of. The hopeless romantic stuff, I guess, is true because I nailed it. Self-isolating. Mediators long to connect with others, but they don't always know how, especially in new environments. Mediators may be reluctant to put themselves out there in ways that would help them make new friends or become involved in a new community. As a result, people with this personality type may sometimes feel lonely or isolated. Yeah, I agree. Not really that I don't know how, I just don't do it. I just tend to want to be alone. Unfocused. Mediators' imaginative, introspective nature doesn't always lend itself to productivity. Many mediators get frustrated by how difficult they find it to buckle down and get things done. The problem isn't that they are incapable, rather it's that they run into problems when they become so caught up in different ideas and ideals that they fail to commit to a course of action. Yeah, I agree with that. There's a lot that I want to do and nothing that I can like pinpoint focus on. It's very difficult for me to do that. I'm really surprised, to be honest, that I kept my focus for making this. Um, but I guess we'll see when it comes to editor me. See how I feel about it then. Emotionally vulnerable, desperate to please. I feel that. Self-critical, yeah. Um, so thank you for watching. I hope you found that fun. Now, like I said, I found this website that has a whole bunch of other quizzes. I'm going to be doing a bunch of other ones. I think they're a lot quicker than this one, hopefully. Um, I just figured this one would be fun to start off with. Like, just knowing personality types is cool. Maybe you know a little bit more about me now. And yeah, thank you for watching. Do all the stuff. Stick around. I want to show you more things that I create. And yeah, see you.